The scarf of Kunbatar summary of episode 11. Arseny had reached the final winter of his life, frail and bent with age, carrying the weight of decades of solitude and grief. Elena's brief return had reminded him of all that could never be reclaimed. The scarf remained his constant companion, a tangible connection to love, memory, and endurance, even as the chill of mortality pressed upon him. This is the true story of one of our viewers' family members. Episode 12, the last part, Death in Kunbatar. Death comes quietly in Kunbatar, like the soft drift of snow across frozen ridges, or the subtle hush that falls over the mountains at dusk. It does not rush, it does not announce itself. It waits, patient, for the moment when a life has been spent, when the heart has endured enough and the body has no strength left to resist. Arseny's final days were marked by the slow, deliberate ebb of life. He moved less now, his steps unsteady, each breath shallow and deliberate. The mountains and village, once familiar companions, seemed distant and softened, as if even the world itself were bending toward the inevitability of his end. The scarf never left him. Worn, fraying, yet infused with decades of memory, it lay across his shoulders or clutched tightly in his hands. It had survived betrayal, solitude, the long years of shadowed living, and now it would bear witness to the final chapter of a life defined by love, grief, and unending devotion. He sat by the fire, gazing into the dying flames, remembering Elena as he had for so many years, the laughter he had loved, the betrayal he had witnessed, the fleeting return she had made. In the quiet of his home, he whispered her name, and the scarf trembled slightly in his hands, as if responding to the tremor in his heart. "Elena," he breathed, "I am still here. I have carried us through every winter, every shadow, every betrayal. I am still here, waiting even now." The days passed slowly. The snow drifted higher outside his window, and the villagers, accustomed to his presence, yet now noticing his silence, whispered among themselves. "The shepherd will not last the winter," they said, as if his life were a candle flickering in a gale. He did not respond to them, did not attempt to explain or justify his existence. His life had been lived from memory and love, and no words to the outside world could alter that truth. One evening, as the wind howled across the mountains and the fire dwindled to embers, Arseny felt the familiar ache of mortality press against him. His hands, cold and frail, tightened around the scarf. He pressed it against his lips and chest, inhaling the scent and recalling every stolen glance, every whisper, every moment of joy and heartbreak. "I am yours still," he whispered, "even if you are gone, even if you will never return. My heart has always been yours." The room grew colder, the wind more insistent. Arseny closed his eyes, feeling the years collapse upon themselves, each memory, each sorrow, each flicker of joy and betrayal spinning together in a tapestry of a life fully lived and fully endured. In his mind, he saw Elena once more, the girl he had loved, the woman he had waited for, the fleeting presence that had shaped his entire existence. She smiled, distant, unreachable, and he reached for her. Clutching the scarf as though it could bridge the impossible gap, he felt his breath slowing, his body weakening. Time had done its work, and the mountains, the winds, the snow, and the silence all bore witness. Yet even as his life waned, the scarf remained a constant, cradling him, holding the fragments of love and memory that had defined him. "Elena," he whispered one final time, "I am coming. I am coming to the place where we can finally be together, even if only in memory." His fingers loosened their grip on the scarf, but only slightly. It remained clutched, pressed to his chest, a tangible reminder of the devotion that had carried him through decades of solitude. His lips murmured her name again, a whisper against the wind, against the mountains, against the silence that had become his world. And then, as the last breath left him, Arseny's eyes closed, his body slumping into the quiet embrace of death. The scarf lay with him, frayed and worn, a relic of a life shaped by love, betrayal, endurance, and memory. The mountains bore witness. The snow fell silently, and Kunbatar held one more secret, one more story within its cold embrace. Death had claimed him, yes, but not his devotion, not his love. The scarf, still pressed to his chest, carried the weight of a heart that had endured beyond betrayal, beyond time, beyond the cruelty of a world that had not allowed happiness to fully bloom. And you, listener, now carry the story forward. Remember Arseny, remember the scarf, remember the quiet power of love that endures even in the face of heartbreak and isolation. Keep his memory alive. Speak it aloud, whisper it in the wind, honor it in your heart. For stories like his are not just history, they are lessons, witnesses, and the pulse of human endurance. And you, listener, now carry the story forward. Remember Arseny, remember the scarf, remember the quiet power of love that endures even in the face of heartbreak and isolation. Keep his memory alive. Speak it aloud, whisper it in the wind, honor it in your heart. If you found this story moving, please like, subscribe, and share so that Arseny's journey, his love, and his memory continue to touch hearts everywhere.